Welcome back to Diary of a Speed Reader. Today's book is What It Takes by Schwarzman, and I'm giving it 5 stars. Now, I'm a huge fan of Schwarzman, and Blackstone is one of the top organizations that a finance nerd like me can get a job at. So I was really thrilled to receive this book as a giveaway at one of the events he was speaking at. You know, Schwarzman is an icon that anyone within finance probably should try to know a little something about. Now, this book is subtitled Lessons in the Pursuit of Excellence. And so it is really his wisdom after having been in the field for so long on how he thinks about lessons that he's learned throughout life that everyone should take away. Now, given how successful the man is, you'd really have to be someone very special to not want to at least hear what the man has to say. And for me, there are 3 great takeaways that led to my 5-star rating. Now, there's one thing that I would give as a minor criticism, not so much because I felt that way when I read it, but after posting my review in Goodreads, I ended up seeing a lot of very specific feedback, and also reading the other reviews in Goodreads, I kind of see where they're coming from. So 3 things I like, 1 thing, something to consider. But before we get into that, please do hit the subscribe button on my channel. Like, share, comment, all that is so helpful and amazing. Additionally, I would mention that I do have a sister channel, Markets with May, where I give daily market commentary. So if the reason you're watching this is because you are a financial person, guru, whatever, please do check out my station. Let's get into why I liked this book so much. Now, the first thing that I think is incredible is that when you read books like this, you're just really struck by the idea that there really are purebred entrepreneurs. And that's really my concept, but it's something that I always look for when I read books about great business people. You know, even from a young age, there are stories of him having some very serious thoughts about not just how to take his dad's operations into a more efficiency or greater operations, but how to really scale it and think very big. That's just so impressive to me to know that some people are just born that way. And then you see all the hustles that he has in college and how he tries to hustle and make things happen and how his career then progresses. I mean, this is really consistency of success. I mean, this is really someone who lives, breathes, and always has enjoyed business and taking businesses to bigger and better things. Now, the second thing that I liked that he talked about was the story about how he got a lot of backlash for speaking up. And what I liked about this is this wasn't like tied together in some beautiful little ribbon. It wasn't pleasant to speak up. It wasn't pleasant to receive the backlash for it. And it wasn't like it ended in this perfect, beautiful way, but it is a part of business and is a part of having to do the right thing. And anyone that is going to be accountable and going to be successful, they are going to need to have enough integrity to speak up when it's relevant. And that's always a tough thing. You know, when I was younger, I was doing it out of ignorance, but as you get older and start to be more sensitive and more aware of politics, I think that gets really hard. But this is just a beautiful reminder of how to think about it. Now, I also really love his very frank discussion on 8, 9, and 10 players and how you're really always trying to get those types of players, how hard they are to find, how much you want to cultivate them, and the types of environments that are just positive and negative, and what that can mean for an organization in its growth and trajectory. And I think a lot of people don't always understand this, and I think some people are a little hater on this. But 8, 9, and 10 players is what it means from the reader's perspective to pursue excellence. But also, another takeaway that you can have related to this is to try to get on a team full of 8, 9, and 10. They might bring you up if you feel right now you're a 5, 6, or 7. Now, the one possible downside of this book has to do with the fact that since Schwarzman is such an A player and has been that way pretty much all his life, he may not show as much sensitivity as maybe other authors do as relates to the fact that many of his readers are probably 8, 9, and 10 players in the making, but potentially might have some insecurities therein. A lot of folks that I saw in the reviews really felt like the book was a little bit snobby, I guess is probably one way to say it. And what I would really recommend for folks to understand is just to really appreciate how successful Mr. Schwarzman is and all the things that he's accomplished, and realize that if you know you're talking to someone hyper successful and they're going to just not try to dumb it down and not really try to pull back punches, then this is the kind of way that they'll talk. They'll just talk very frankly about what happened and where they're at. Now, I personally found it not to be that way. And the reason I feel that it's a little bit unjustified is because the man does talk about different failures that he had at different points in his career, different mistakes that he wished that he understood, but there was no way to understand it at the time. He just had to learn it the hard way. Now for me, I didn't really experience those feelings. It just sounded like a very, very successful person, not holding back any punches when he tells me about the successes and then the failures and then the lessons. But apparently quite a lot of folks felt that way when they were reading the book. So if that's you and you feel like you might start to feel that way, try to hold it in, because this is a very successful man for which there is a lot to be learned. Well, that's all I have prepared for this episode. Please, again, like, share, comment, subscribe to my station. It always helps me to know what to do next. And happy reading.